This is a real thing. A man encountered a cave collapse and was trapped for more than half a month. After multiple rescue attempts failed, his remains were taken away. The incident happened in Kentucky, USA in 1925. In that era, it was popular to develop caves into paid attractions. A man named Floyd Collins discovered a sand cave. The cave has a superior geographical location and is very suitable for developing city attractions. But the disadvantage is that the cave passage is particularly narrow. On January 30th, he entered the cave alone to explore. The passages inside the cave are intricate, and he hopes to find a passage suitable for transformation. After half a day of tossing, he found that the oil in the oil lamp was about to run out, which meant he should leave. However, at the moment he turned around, he accidentally knocked the oil lamp to the ground, and the cave instantly fell into darkness. Floyd was not afraid at this time, because this was not the first time he encountered this situation in the cave. He recalled the route back in his mind, and then moved forward step by step in the dark. Soon, he came to the narrowest passage. He could only put his hands on both sides of his thighs, then sway his body left and right, and push his feet forward a little bit, and slowly move his body through. But at this moment, an accident happened. When Floyd pushed hard with his legs, he knocked down a rock weighing about 12 kilograms, and the rock hit his left leg. Even more unfortunate is that when people encounter pain, they will naturally twitch and curl up their bodies. This reaction pushes the loose sand above due to the lack of rocks to pour down. Floyd's legs, body, and hands were buried tightly, but fortunately, his head was not buried. After trying to shout for help several times to no avail, he had no choice but to save his energy and wait for rescue. When he calmed down, he also found something worrying. There were drops of water falling on his side face, just above his head, which was similar to the legendary water drop torture. Floyd tried to turn his face downward to avoid the water drops, but doing so for a long time made it difficult for him to breathe, so he had to turn his face back to accept the torture. Now, he just hopes that someone will find him sooner. It was not until the next afternoon that Floyd's brother Homer found a coat he left at the entrance of the cave, and then he knew that he was trapped inside. After Homer went in to understand the situation, he first calmed his brother's emotions, and then went back to call more people for rescue. Soon, the news of Floyd's entrapment spread throughout the town, and many people came to the cave entrance one after another. Most of them just came to watch the fun. Some people wanted to go into the cave to see the trapped Floyd, but they went out without seeing anyone. Even the people who came to rescue retreated when they saw the narrow passage. They thought it was difficult to enter such a small place, let alone to carry out rescue. At this time, his parents thought that Floyd could not be rescued in a short time, but he was thin and small, so he could take some food and kneel down to replenish Floyd's energy. At the same time, he could try to rescue himself. At the end, he helped his brother clean up some gravel while throwing guards, but it always felt like he couldn't finish it. Just after cleaning a little, the space here is too narrow, and you can't bend down. The exhausted Homer was forcibly pulled back to rest. More and more people gathered at the cave entrance, and more than 100 people racked their brains, but could not come up with an effective rescue plan. A thin reporter, Miller, deliberately entered the cave during this gap to give Floyd food and a wired light bulb, which could both illuminate and warm up the body through the temperature of the bulb. After understanding the situation, Miller came out and wrote down what he had witnessed and published it in the newspaper. At this time, someone wanted to pull the trapped people out with a rope. After the plan was finalized, Homer went down to help Floyd mark the rope. This method was initially effective, and Floyd's upper body moved out. But then, Floyd's screams came. Homer immediately took care of the big guy, loosened the rope, and stopped pulling. On February 5th, the news of Floyd's being trapped spread quickly in the newspapers, and thousands of people gradually gathered at the cave entrance to watch the fun. Once there were more people, they had to solve the problems of eating, drinking. Snack vendors were everywhere at the cave entrance, and even people sleeping on the floor and drinking and bragging in groups. The entire town had never received so many tourists, and local villagers rented out their empty rooms to tourists. On February 6th, a cave exploration expert rushed to the scene after seeing the newspaper. The expert analyzed the situation on the scene and made two plans that could be carried out simultaneously. Plan 1. Find a location close to Floyd on the ground. Dig a tree well leading to the underground shaft, and when you reach Floyd's depth, dig in his direction to rescue him. Delphan is an expert. He went in and tried to dig out the rubble around Floyd. Floyd. After dozens of hours of continuous digging, it finally worked. Floyd's hands barely had some space to move, which gave everyone a glimmer of hope. Now, the most important thing is the rock on his leg. The position inside the rock is completely out of reach. The expert had to go out to discuss other plans. On February 7th, while everyone was still discussing the rescue plan outside the cave, part of the cave passage collapsed unexpectedly, causing Floyd to be completely isolated from the outside world. Now, only the wired electric light that the reporter pulled in can give him a little warmth. Everyone analyzed that it might be because there were too many people going in and out, and the vibrations caused by various excavations caused the collapse of the loose place. The cave is named because of its soft geology, Sand Cave. On February 13th, the light that accompanied Floyd suddenly lost power, and the staff suspected that the bulb might have burned out. Now, the only bulb that can accompany him has also lost its warmth. On February 16th, the shaft finally reached the designated depth, and a small hole was also opened in the horizontal passage that afternoon. Unfortunately, Floyd had lost his vital signs due to cold and hunger, and the only estimated time of death was about February 14th. It was not until 2 months later that a pair of German engineers continued to open the passage and transported his body out, and later buried him on their family farm. But the story is not over yet. In 1927, his father sold the land to a local dentist. Later, the dentist actually dug up Freud's body, embalmed it, and put it in a glass cabinet. Then, taking advantage of the traffic from his appearance in the newspaper, after the family members went to negotiate the matter to no avail, they took him to court, was that they would lose the case. After his death, Freud's family could only watch. It was not until March 1929 that Freud's body mysteriously disappeared. However, a few hours later, Freud was found by the river. But the strange thing is that the man stole it and threw it by the river, and he was missing a leg. It was unfortunately sent back to the exhibition hall for continued exhibition. It was not until 1960 that the National Park Service expropriated the cave. Freud was finally properly buried in the Lengma Cave Church Cemetery in 1989. This is the end of this issue. If you like it, remember San Lian. Thank you.